Right, so you played Amsterdam last night. How did they treat you? Were they a good crowd or?
They were a great crowd.
Yeah.
It was one of those shows where it felt like a first awkward date where you're just sort of like, are we gonna make love tonight or not, kind of thing. And you're not sure, how it's gonna go down, but maybe after one drink, you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, letting your guard down a little bit, and then halfway through, you realize, oh, this is gonna be a fun night, and so it was that kind of night.
You can relax a bit then, can't
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have fun no matter what. Sometimes I think with our audience, they sort of are like trying to figure out, wait, do I fucking go crazy right now, or am I supposed to stand back? Because we have all different kinds of age groups at our shows. So you'll have a guy that is visibly, an older gentleman in the crowd, and then you'll have a girl who's 13 that's just excited, and then you'll have, some teenage boys that want to start getting rowdy, and even little kids and stuff. So you never know what to expect and who's going to set it off, if you will. But towards the end of it, it was really rowdy and really, really fun and sweaty and good.
Now, when you played South by Southwest, I think you hadn't kind of played with the new stuff that much. So do you feel more fluent with it now? Is it more of a natural thing? Yeah,
it's a little, just like anything else. I mean, even 6 months from now, it'll feel much better. But it feels pretty good already, so it's hard to imagine how much better it could feel. But each day, we're really critical of ourselves, and we talk about it and have little meetings after and discuss how to get better and become the best we can be.
Now, when you make a record, it doesn't strike me that you're someone that gives yourselves limits or anything like that. So when you come to playing it live, do you ever find that you've made it really hard for yourselves? Like, that song is an absolute nightmare to play live.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Tom York that said that they are a Radiohead cover band now, and that's exactly what we are. I mean, it'd be impossible for it to sound exactly how the record does, and we're not trying to, play along to a bunch of tracks like a Milli Vanilli style scenario, which most bands do now. So there may be less going on stage than the record at times, but we choose more impactful ways to deliver these moments as it seems to make sense in a live scenario.
Yeah.
That was a really strange sentence I just
said. It worked.
Yeah, okay.
Now, with your first album, you obviously didn't expect people to hear it or necessarily love it. And now making the second one, you've almost got a pressure that, people are watching what you do. How did that affect how you created the album?
It's hard to say, one way or another, but if anything, it was a strange feeling to know that people were waiting to hear something and anticipating something for the first time. I've only made debut records in the past, I think, as you sort of mentioned, and to have a follow-up to some massive successful record was pretty scary, but also liberating at the same time, because I knew that people were going to hear it, and I spent most of my career making a bunch of music that no one heard. So it was a really good feeling and gave me a lot of confidence also to make an ambitious record and make songs that I felt like our fans would really appreciate,
You've described it as more brutal. Is that because you had something you wanted to get off your chest, or you just wanted to make music that had a bit more to
it? Yeah, all of the above, a little bit more to it, and just extreme moments, to the balance between dark and light, all together. And I pushed the boundaries of recording a little bit on the record for sure, and I think as time goes on, people will look back on this record and appreciate some of the ambitious tones and moments for sure.
You said that you think you've become a better producer, but someone like me, I don't really know what that means. Does it mean like knowing how to use all the buttons and the knobs in the studio, or is it just learning when to be subtle and knowing where the song should go?
Less about the buttons. I have an engineer that handles a lot of the buttons, and all that. But although I do fiddle with the knobs here and there, but a producer really overlooks the whole thing and how it sounds. I think a good producer will bring a song idea and surround it with the right kind of tones and the right kind of parts to, make the song come to life and put its best foot forward. There's plenty of songs that you could play with just an acoustic guitar and sing. So just a vocal and acoustic guitar. And I think it's the producer's job to surround the blueprint of that song with the right colors, if that makes sense.
On Headdress for My Soul, it's quite stripped back, that, and you can hear like your fingers on the fretboard and stuff like that. So is it important to you to keep those kind of raw details in if you think it's right?
Yeah, when it sounds cool to me and adds a human element, I think it's very important to have a raw quality to the songs because people could relate to it, and that again would be a production decision.
Yeah.
So you'll have a song like that is very raw, very intimate and vulnerable. And then, shortly after that, you have a song like Woman, which is basically a big pop rock song at the same time. So putting it all together was a ridiculously fun experience for sure, and terrifying at the same time.
Did you feel like you were catering to your fans pre the sale phenomenon or the ones post, or was it finding that balance?
I think I was catering to just music lovers in general. And, I never intended to become, part of the mainstream, although the song Sale did become part of the mainstream and some of the other hits of the first record, but I never did. I never became a celebrity. I never, no one really knows who I am. When I'm walking around, of course, if I'm walking around here where people are going to see us, maybe I'll get recognized, but I never dated a celebrity. I never walked any sort of red carpets. Red carpets don't fit my shoes, I guess, and that's not the kind of life I want to live at all. So, I just want to make music for the people, music for real freak fans like I am, The records that I loved affected my life in such a drastic, important way that I guess it's only natural that I'm attempting to make music that does the same for others.
Have you found that people have tried to change you from being that person, the non-celebrity person, because they know it'd be better for your sales? Have you had to battle that through your career?
A little bit here and there with maybe the label. If it were up to them, I would be all over the place and showing my face everywhere. In fact, there's way too much of my face right now everywhere. Like when I look on iTunes, I see my face. It's like looking in the mirror in a bad way. Or there's some magazines I've been on now, and it's a weird balance you have to find, because those are opportunities sometimes for more people to hear your hard work and what you're passionate about. And luckily for me, the first record and now this new one have affected people's lives in a positive way. And more fans have, this is hard to say without sounding too egotistical, but they've thanked me for either one, changing their lives for the better, or helping them get through a tough time. So if having to show my face once in a while in a bigger way can help that happen more often, then I'll do it.
Yeah, it's worth it, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's worth it, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. Although it feels bad though, it really does. Taking photos, as the Indians said, every time you take a photo, you have your photo taken, a part of you dies, and a part of your soul withers away, and it feels like that some days for sure. Especially when it's for the wrong reasons, you know.
No, I was watching the interview series you did with Tim about your songs, and when we last spoke, you said you'd never read a negative review, and I wonder whether that's changed and how you deal with it, because Tim said he gave you some constructive criticism about a song, and then you didn't talk for a little while. So do you find that hard, accepting other opinions and negative comments and things?
Well, before no one reviewed the record, it just kind of came out. So then of course, there's going to be some negative reviews and people wanting to hate and all that. So Tim was instrumental in helping me push myself further, because as we spoke in that interview, when I showed him an earlier draft, it was more of an artistic record, and it wasn't as anthemic. And he said that he missed that part of my voice and songwriting, and I was frustrated at first, but he was right. And I was, I look back on that moment and I'm really grateful that it happened, because it pushed me to write songs like I Am, Woman, even Run, Jailbreak, and Windows. So basically half the record hadn't been written before I talked to him. And I threw away a lot of the other ones that were around at that time. And now they're cool to me as maybe a song for another EP or something like that later on. But yeah, of course I read some negativity, but it's never even close to the positivity that is out there. So, but you can't help but be a human being and look at the negative stuff sometimes. I go, no, I shouldn't, but fuck, and it's like looking
it's
at
like a drug. You have to.
It's like a car accident or a train wreck. You can't take your eyes off it. So sometimes you read it, but you got to take it with a grain of salt,
or at least try to.
Yeah.
Now, talking about who you share your new music with, has the body kind of got bigger, the amount of people that you expose to your new music, or it's still quite a tight-knit group?
Smaller.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it
So I
your
don't
management?
want any outside influence on me. In the case of Tim, that was helpful, and I cared about his opinion at that time. But as far as like the label goes or anything like that, they're the last people I want to hear. Anything I've done or anything artistic, because I don't believe that they're artistic at all as a label or as people. And I'm not talking about you guys, by the way. I'm talking about the staff back in the States. So I just don't really. They've done some great things for me, but I certainly don't have any respect for them artistically speaking. So the last thing I'm going to do is get their 2 cents on a song when it's not done, and you never want to be influenced for the wrong reasons.
That day that you finally played the finished demo or draft of the album to them, how scary was that for you? Were you a nervous wreck? Or?
It was scary, but I was sort of sitting on top of all the success thinking like, well, I mean, even if the world ended tomorrow, I'd be so happy with what happened. I felt like I hit a new level of acknowledgement and validation for my songwriting. So I was kind of so happy with that I was okay with someone not liking the new stuff. But the opposite reaction happened, and the one guy I played it for really liked it, and that blew my mind. I really didn't think that was going to happen. I thought they were going to say, "Whoa, this is crazy. You got to do something else." And so I'm really lucky in that regard, which contradicts my last statement very much. But we're all about contradictions.
Now, last time we spoke, you talked about how you're into documentaries and films. I wonder if any of them have infiltrated the album somehow.
That would be impossible to figure out, but I could tell you most recently I've been watching this documentary called Rivers and Tides. It's about this artist who uses only nature to make art, and it's just so beautiful. And it's a great thing to watch on tour when you're in cities every night or in a bus or in all this sort of man-made world, and it's nice to escape to. So I would recommend that, definitely. Maybe that influenced the record a little bit, but there wasn't one in particular that I could say did, but everybody should check out that, Rivers and Tides.
Now, you've had a song on a soundtrack recently. Would you ever want to do a whole score to a film?
Yeah.
That's the dream scenario.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I've never done it, so I don't know how difficult it is or what the process is, but I know that the music and the instrumentation I come up with definitely lends itself to more cinematic qualities, so I would love to have that opportunity.
Is there a director that you think we've got a good synergy there? I think we'd work well together.
Well, of course I'm going to say, Spike Jonze or P.T. Anderson or the Coen brothers or, Wes Anderson,
the cool ones.
Yeah, kind of my favorite directors, but it would also be cool to do like a Steven Spielberg film or be involved in, the new Star Wars, but obviously, my phone didn't ring, so that's not going to happen,
There's still time, maybe.
I know.